Welcome to The Love of Porsche. This week we're going to be taking a look into Porsche with interviews from their consumers as well as their workers to find out why this is such a successful car brand.
Porsche really was the thing that everybody wanted.
It's not just a man's world anymore. Ladies love the drives, they like the speed.
They're really fun cars to drive.
Porsche is probably, sort of the brand to go for.
Porsche is the pinnacle for me and I don't think I'll ever change.
My name's Jonathan Sullivan. I'm the centre principal here at Porsche Bournemouth.
I've been here just over 6 years and I've been with the brand just over 19 years. It's just such an iconic brand. Gets under your skin.
Founded by Ferdinand Porsche and his son in 1948, starting with a small team of just 200 people, this brand has now expanded to have over 40,000 employees. We wanted to know just what makes this brand so special. Starting with the Porsche Centre in Guildford, we meet Sarah, co-founder of successful Porsche car meet Ruby and the Blonde.
I'm Sarah Rhodes. I run Ruby and the Blonde, which is a ladies' platform on Instagram. I'm Queen Pirate for Pirate Runs, which is a mixed gender driving group.
Now we're at Fullingham Farm Park where Jon works at his workshop restoring old Porsches.
Hi, my name's Jon Hancock. I run a small business that builds very bespoke one-off motor cars, and I've been building custom cars for 20-25 years and have a particular fondness to the Porsche mark.
We next meet Josh, a local racing driver who works at the Bournemouth Porsche Centre.
I'm Josh Malin. I'm one of the Porsche pros here at Porsche Centre Bournemouth. I used to race in Porsche Carrera Cup, and this is my story with Porsche.
When I was 7 or 8, our next door neighbour brought home a brand new 924. Just blew my mind, but I just loved it and it just stuck with me for many, many years. So I knew, but I always had wanted one of these cars. And I had a life-changing accident about 9 years ago, and it turned my whole life upside down. I couldn't work, had quite a number of injuries, and for about a year and a half afterwards I wasn't allowed to drive a car. But if you've got to flip it onto a good side, what it did mean is that a few years later I got quite a good compensation payout, and I knew exactly straight away what I was going to spend my money on.
I was diagnosed type 1 diabetic when I was 4, I think it was July 2004, when I said I wanted to be a racing driver. And it was at that point I was told that I could no longer, sort of pursue my dream of becoming a racing driver because of my type 1 diabetes. As I said, if I had bad control, they wouldn't allow it because of the implications. If I crash when my blood sugar's going low because of bad control, that could just lead to a whole heap of trouble. If you want to pursue something, don't let a health condition stop you. In my early years, before I actually got on track, I was doing a lot of sim racing, and basically my next door neighbour ran an MX-5 championship that I eventually started out in. He then came around for dinner one evening, basically said, well, let's have a go on that, let's see how I get on. And I was like 3 or 4 seconds faster than him, and he himself raced in that MX-5 series. But he then said, well, can you do that in a real car? So I was like, no idea, never driven a car, and I was about 15 at this point. And we helped him build a Mark 1 Mazda MX-5 race car. And in my first ever race, 2 days after my final GCSE, I came second.
My mum had a Porsche, so in, I'm going to say, the very early 80s, I was around about 11. She had a a Porsche 924 Lux, white one, with Pasha interior, which is crazy checks, which is amazing. And you know, she had it for 20 years, and then I had it. I was already playing about with cars. I'd always been involved in cars. I've sort of been into cars forever, and that became my little classic car, which I used to poodle along to the various shows in and stuff. Mum and Dad having the 924, which is still around, by the way. That particular car's still around. If you Google it on Tinternet, you'll be able to find a picture. If you Google Porsche 924 and Melons, I guarantee it will come up, because the registration number is SNO73W. So the car's known as Melons. And if you turn that upside down, it says Melons perfectly.
Here we're at Kent Auto Solutions, speaking to Harvey, who is now the current owner of Melons.
I'm Harvey Cox, I'm 21 years old, and this is my 1980 924 Lux. I brought it just out of a whim. I brought it blind. I'd known of the guy who owned it before, and I always thought on social media it always looked really good, and so I thought when the opportunity came to buy it, I thought, yeah, let's go for it. It's not a personalised plate. Just when whoever brought this car knew, got really lucky with the DVLA, and they gave it quite a cool number plate. I was at the NEC. I do some work for the Owners Club, and he just approached the stand where we was and just asked, "Oh, does anyone know what's happened to my car?" And my friend I was with went, "Oh, what's the number plate of it?" And he said the name, and he said, "Oh, the car's called Melons," and all that. And my friend pointed at me and went, "Oh, it's him. He's got it now." You definitely get some weird looks from people. You get the odd kind of, "Oh, well, I guess he's stolen his dad's car." It's been instilled into me from birth, I think. The Owners Club has a dedicated young owners group, and there's probably about 100 people, and they're scattered across the country with these. Probably my favourite memory of Porsche was just being driven around for the first time in one of these, experiencing what a working one is like, and yeah, it was a load of fun.
I was lucky to be in a position where I could spec up my dream car. And when it arrived, it was just, I just fell in love with this car. It's got to be Porsche for me. So I'm on my second 9921. I originally had a sharp blue one, which I'd spec'd myself, and I wasn't thinking about changing my dream car. But our friends here at Porsche Centre Guildford said, "Oh, we know you like pink. We've got this pink one. Would you like to see it?" And I was like, "Oh, go on then." And I loved it. Bought it. Her name's Julie, and she's a very unusual colour. She's this ruby star pink that you can see behind. Unlike the blue one, with the pink one, I've been able to build a bit of a career around the car. I run a ladies' platform called Ruby and the Blonde, so Ruby is to do with the colour Ruby Star. And it was a great decision.
I raced in MX-5s 2017, won that first full season. 2018 I moved up to a more powerful MX-5, won that in my first full season as well. And then I made the jump to Ginetta GT5 Challenge. That was a lot more, there was a very high level of competition. There were some very serious drivers up and coming through that series. I did quite well in my first year. I think I finished 5th. And then in 2020, obviously that topsy-turvy year, I managed to win the championship. And the team who I was with at the time, they turned around and said, "Well, we've got a 911 Carrera Cup car sitting around doing nothing. Do you want to race that?" So in doing that, I think that whole season was a core memory. But I also was very lucky enough to race a Pink Pig tribute livery at the final race weekend in 2023 at Brands Hatch. That was a surprise, not only for everyone else, but for me as well. It was sprung upon me. Turned up Friday testing. This is your livery for this weekend, and having a heritage, sort of livery tribute with the team I was with, Roslyn Gold by Century Motorsport. That was a very, very special moment for me.
I drive all my cars. I'm not precious with them at all, irrespective of value or rarity or anything else. I don't like having all my eggs in one basket, hence the reason I've got so many cars. I like to have a choice. I'm very much about aesthetics. I like what things look like, what things sound like. I'm not bothered how fast they go because I don't drive fast anyway. There are much harder cars to restore than a Porsche, which is one of the beauties of them. The 356, I could have sold that 20, 30, 40 times over. I'm not yet at the point where the 356 could go, and I don't see that happening in the near future, or in any future, I don't think.
My best friend Leon, who I met through Porsche, we were just talking and they were saying, you know, Sarah, have you ever thought about running a group yourself, and you'd be great. Leon and I decided to launch Ruby and the Blonde. Come and have coffee, have a chat. If you want to have a little bit of a lively drive afterwards, feel free. It is a man's world, but ladies love to drive for cars. There's lots of lady owners, but they would always feel a little bit uncomfortable about showing up unless they were with their husband. It was really apparent that there wasn't a great market for women. What we have realised is that in the world of car meets, it's the men who like to come out. In order to get the women, we need to organically run that alongside a mixed driving group instead. We created a group called Pirate Runs. You know, when I first started Ruby and the Blonde, I had some very unwanted attention, and it was hard work. I had a couple of my meetings sabotaged, and it had made me at times sort of think, you know, why am I doing this? Do I need this aggro? The chap that was causing me problems, we had to report to the police. You do tend to find that everybody supports each other, but you do have a little minority who are looking after their own interests.
I'm lucky that I've raced in Porsche Carrera Cup GP. I started that in 2021 before I started working here at Porsche Centre Bournemouth as a Porsche Pro. I started here in January 2024, and it was completely unrelated to the racing. It just so happened at the time that I was a racing driver in a Porsche series, which was amazing. There's a lot of time devoted to it, whether it's practicing on the simulator, whether it is, you know, travelling to test days, whether it is, you know, travelling to race weekends. You know, you're spending quite a lot of time away from home. But the nice thing about it is, you know, with my family, we've always done it as a family. You know, we just did it for the love of racing, the love of cars, and the love of that motorsport buzz. Part of me is like, I really want to get back into it 100%, but there's some days where it's almost like it's more effort than it's worth. It's like trying to climb Mount Everest. It's so tough. It's possible, but it's very, very tough. And I think, you know, I do want to get back out on track. In what capacity, I don't know. Whether it's Porsche, I hope so. Hopefully we'll be back out on track in 2027, but there's no guarantees in this game.
I've played about with cars since I bought one. I bought one when I was 16. It wasn't anything clever, wasn't anything special, and I took it all apart and cleaned it. I worked in sales. I fell into sales for no particular reason. And about 15 years ago, a bit longer, I just fell out of love with it. We moved down here from the Midlands. The only thing I could do was cars. And I got a workshop, considerably smaller than this, but still a reasonable size. And I was doing little jobs for people, maybe in exchange for parts and whatever, or just helping people out. And people started asking me if I do work, and one thing led to another, and I literally finished work. I handed all my stuff back, handed my company car back, did all that sort of stuff, and started working on cars.
Porsche are probably at the forefront of motorsport innovation. As I've got older, I've probably realised that Porsche is probably, you know, sort of the brand to go for. It's the driver's choice, and they cater from, you know, these incredible track cars to sleek-looking sports cars and functional SUVs.
The car scene, whether it's Porsches or anything else, it brings people together. My favourite trip in a car is always the one that I'm going to do, if that makes sense. Cars and coffee meets are all over the place. The whole premise of that is that you do cars and coffees, you turn up and you just chat and you have car meet friends or whatever. Chances are you don't know their names. You have got no idea what they do for a living. They are just people that you bump into and talk car-related nonsense for the period of time that you're there. And just the communication and spending time with like-minded people who, if you're right in the right environment, are non-judgmental and don't want anything from you, then that's just a Saturday morning. It's just a nice get out of bed, go for a bite to eat, drive home and carry on with your weekend. Gives the cars an hour's blast out in the sun, hopefully, and it's good fun. I don't think it matters too much what you're driving. I think it's, for me, the trips are about the people.
Mostly it is men, but I see more and more women coming through now, and that's really nice. Women now are more confident, and I think, there are more women coming through into the sort of driving side, lots of female drivers now. It's not just a man's world anymore. Ladies love the drives, they like the speed. We're not just interested in the pretty cars or the pretty colours or how pretty the cars make us. We're interested in what goes on under the bonnet. Porsche is a very forward-thinking brand and they are tackling that, but the community itself, I think, could do with a bit of a shake-up and a bit of a change. If the girls can do that, then brilliant, we'll take the guys on any day. It's a wonderful kind of community to fall in. It's very spirited. You see the same faces wherever you go. Going out to your local meet, I've got the Fair Mile later this afternoon, which is a really big one in the south of England.
This is the Fair Mile car meet organised by Porsche 911 UK, where we meet some of the Porsche owners and hear their experiences with this brand, and the community behind these organised events.
My name's Adam. I make videos of cars and car meets, and I love cars a little bit too much.
Personally, I think it's the colours, the liveries, the race car looks. Like there's a Rothmans 928 behind, there's some ruby stone red, like a beautiful pink colour. I think it's all the different specifications you can get, like the interiors, like the Tarsen interiors, the houndstooth. That's what makes Porsche like a work of art for me. It's good to be able to fit in with the variety of age groups, because we all share a passion, we have the same interests, and that's what makes the community.
Hi, my name's Haidn Thomas. I'm the co-founder of AutoKeys. And I'm a car enthusiast. I think usually people are quite willing to talk about their cars. It's always nice to meet new faces and hear a few engines.
Hi, I'm Drew and this is my 997 GT3 RS. I'll always see people here I know that I get to talk to, so it makes it even more enjoyable.
So I'm quite local and obviously I'm a Porsche fan. I've got a Porsche 964 and I like coming to see the cars here, but equally meet the people. And talk about their stories and their journeys on their cars as well. And I've met quite a few people where we're going on road trips together as well, so they've become very, very close friends.
My name is Helena Prince and I live locally in Esher. There we go. That's one of the reasons I have a Porsche, because I love that sound. Well, this one in particular is an everyday car, so you can flick it into sport mode and drive it like a sports car, or have it in normal mode. It still is nice and nippy, but very comfortable. I can drive up and down the country and not feel like I'm exhausted. They treat me differently, but I've grown up with that. I've always been a petrol head, 2 older brothers and a dad that was into cars. So they like it. I actually tend to stand out and they know me purely because I'm one of the few women that drives a 911.
My name's Spencer. I drive a 1998 996 Carrera 2 and I love Porsches. I generally come for the people, actually, in truth, because we all share a passion with the cars and enjoy driving them, enjoy looking at other people's cars, but it's the people that you meet through owning those cars. Everyone's very accepting, whether you have I've got another 986 Boxster, which is like a £5,000 car, and you can park it up to someone who's got a £300,000 car, and they know that you're just as passionate about Porsches as they are, and everyone's just accepting it. It doesn't matter what Porsche you have, as long as it's a Porsche.
From the engineers who bring everyday detail to life, to the drivers who live for the thrill, and the communities that keep the passion going, Porsche is more than just a car. It's a culture. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.